If you're curious about what goes on behind those polished doors, you're in the right place. Welcome to the opulent, your front row seat to the secretive world of Rolex's authorized retailers, revealing the secrets they don't want you to know. And hey, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, why not give it a tap? It'll keep you in the loop for all our future deep dives. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about Rolex. You might think snagging one of these luxury watches is like grabbing a chance of a lifetime, something that not only looks cool, but could also be your financial parachute in tough times. It's tempting to think of high-end jewelry that way too, especially when you can almost hear the cash register sound with every sparkle of diamond or glint of gold. Before you dive in wallet first, though, it's worth weighing up what you're really paying for. Is it just the bling or the craftsmanship too? But here's the thing with luxury watches. You can't just bank on them. Unlike a simple gold bar, watches tick to a different set of rules. They're complex little beasts, where every tiny gear and spring can add or subtract to the resale price. Plus, let's not forget that fashion and exclusivity play huge roles here. Most watches start losing value the moment you strap them on, and unless you plan on renting out your Rolex like it's a luxury Airbnb, turning a profit can be as tricky as solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Let's take a minute before we jump into what it's like to buy a Rolex straight from the shop. Some people think luxury should be easy to get. No strings attached. No need to cozy up to a dealer or cool your heels on a waiting list. Now picture yourself walking into a Rolex store feeling pretty special, right? But in Rolex's vast universe, you're just one star in a sky full of them. Apparently, the real MVPs are working away from the limelight. These authorized dealers are the ones keeping the gears turning, always on their toes, striving for nothing less than perfection. Becoming an authorized dealer isn't just about filling out some forms too. It's a badge of honor that comes from meeting stringent standards and smashing through tough sales goals, and the tactics they use might just knock your socks off. Have you ever wondered why snagging that Rolex Daytona feels like trying to get a backstage pass at a sold-out show? It's not just about how many they have in stock, it's a game of strategy. You see, authorized Rolex dealers are curating an experience, choosing their buyers with an eye for exclusivity rather than just selling to anyone who walks through the door. They're looking for the real deal, not just window shoppers or casual admirers. And where these shops set up shop matters, a posh neighborhood might get you a raised eyebrow for just asking, while more modest areas might welcome potential buyers with open arms. Apparently, this strategy helps dealers hit those tough sales targets, something that's not often talked about. Then there's the grey market, a kind of wild west of watch sales, skirting the edges of the official channels. These guys scoop up loads of watches, both the hot tickets and the less desired ones, directly from the authorized dealers. It's a win-win. It boosts the official dealer's sales and meets the demand of those who might otherwise be left watchless. But if you're hooked on uncovering more secrets from the luxury watch world, don't forget to subscribe to Opulent Oasis. Now, going back into the store dynamics, think of it like a thriller novel. You've got the rookies, the veterans, and the top boss who runs a tight ship. Often it's the senior staff who are quietly making moves with these grey market traders. And walking into a Rolex store feels a bit like you've stepped onto the set of a detective show. As soon as you enter, it's like the dealers are sizing you up, trying to figure out if you're just dabbling genuinely into watches or looking to flip your find for a quick buck. And with recent upticks in security, let's just say these watches are more guarded than the crown jewels. By day, the watches bask in the showroom spotlight, but at night, they're locked up tighter than Fort Knox. While the shop oozes luxury, don't be fooled by the polished surfaces and soft lighting. There's a serious game of strategy going on behind the scenes. I mean, earning the title of an authorized Rolex dealer is no joke. It's like being knighted in the world of high-end retail. These people go through a rigorous check to make sure they're up to snuff with Rolex's strict standards, deeply connected with the brand's rich history, and capable of hitting some pretty ambitious sales targets. That's why when it comes to who gets what watch, while Rolex dishes out the big rules and the do's and don'ts, they leave the nitty-gritty of who walks out with a stainless steel Daytona to the discretion of the dealers. And just so we're clear, these dealers aren't hoarding an endless stash of these sought-after models. They get what Rolex sends them, and then they have to play a sophisticated guessing game of who deserves the next masterpiece. So, if you ever feel like you're being evaluated over your choice of watch, you're not being paranoid. You're just caught up in the high-stakes world of luxury watch retailing. Now, selling a Rolex is basically its own art form. Each model, whether it's a rugged submariner or a sleek yachtmaster, tells its own story. But even in the luxury game, it's not all about storytelling. You might have the cash for a Daytona, but don't expect them to just hand it over. Dealers keep their eyes on the loyalists, the folks who don't just buy a Rolex, but live the Rolex lifestyle over the years. But here's a twist many don't see coming. Location plays a major role. In the swanky parts of town, a query about a Rolex might get a casual nod. After all, celebrities and tycoons are just part of the scenery there. But step into a boutique in a less flashy area, and you're treated like royalty, no matter who you are. This balancing act helps dealers meet their ambitious sales goals. Now let's stir the pot a bit with some intrigue. Enter the grey market dealers. These modern-day Robin Hoods scoop up batches of watches from authorized dealers, snagging both the crowd pleasers and the lingerers in the display cases. This not only pumps up the official sales figures, but also gets these luxury pieces into the hands of enthusiasts who might otherwise be left out in the cold. And let's peel back another layer at a Rolex boutique, where you'll find not just watches, but a whole game of strategy and sometimes a bit of intrigue. The rookies on the floor are great at chit-chat, making customers feel at home, while the veterans in the back are the masterminds, quietly pulling strings and wheeling and dealing with the grey market to shape the store's destiny. As we wrap up our investigative journey, things get even more interesting. Here's the paradox. While the physical stores often show a scanty display of watches, the online grey market seems to be booming. This dance between demand, perceived scarcity, and actual availability, it's a masterclass in luxury brand strategy. When you show interest in a particular model, dealers size up how much you connect with the watch and appreciate its heritage. Are you just chasing a status symbol? Or do you truly get what Rolex stands for? Decades of commitment to top-notch quality and innovation. Remember, these dealers have seen it all. From the young entrepreneur popping a champagne cork over her first Rolex, a GMT Master II, to celebrate her first million, to the retired naval officer sharing tales of his sea-dweller's adventures, every watch tells a story. And these stories weave into the fabric of Rolex, turning a brand into a legacy. But let's clear the air about one thing. The exclusivity of Rolex can spawn some pretty wild myths. You might hear you need to wear a three-piece suit or drop a few fancy names to get your hands on one from an authorized dealer. Truth is, it's all about being genuine, having a real appreciation for the craft, respecting the brand's rich history, and embodying the spirit of luxury. So, what do you think about what we've unpacked today? If this peek behind the curtain struck a chord, why not give us a thumbs up and drop a comment? We'd love to hear your take. And don't forget to follow our channel for more deep dives like this one. Thanks for tuning into the opulent oasis. We can't wait to bring you along on our next luxury adventure.